Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Screen Chronicles. My name is El Stevo. With me, as always, is Colby, the Cheese Griffin. How are you doing today?
Doing well. We got some very exciting stuff to talk about today because we are covering episodes 4 and 5 of WandaVision.
Or as we like to call it around here, WakandaVision. As
yes.
you have done. Because it rhymes or something. It just works. It's funny sounding.
Well, there is an edit. There's an edit.
There's an edit?
Instagram with T'Challa.
Oh, that's right. I think I saw it. Chadwick Boseman's.
Chadwick Boseman. Rest
Black
in peace,
Panther.
by the way. Yeah.
R.I.P. But yeah, so we're talking episodes 4 and 5 today. We released our first few episodes right after I think episode 4 came out. So we had a lot of theories in that. I still think there's a lot of theories in there, if you're listening to this, that we said that are still not, that haven't been covered yet in episode 4 and 5. So if you're a fan of the show and you're a fan of theories and stuff, make sure to check that out because we had a crazy conversation.
It was a great episode last time.
Oh, much fun.
We taught each other a lot. We picked up on stuff that
we were picking up on stuff as we were going.
We were like putting it together as we were going, like on the fly. It was great.
It was very fun.
It was great. So maybe that'll happen again today. Who knows?
I think it might. But spoiler alert, we're going to get into spoilers for the whole episode. If you haven't seen it, make sure you do that. We're able to talk about. We'll probably do a big review on the season at the end when we talk about like the last couple episodes. We'll do a non-spoiler talk on it. But like I was saying, though, we talked about some theories about what was going on as far as WandaVision World. Episode 4 of WandaVision here really fleshed out a lot of stuff.
Yes, it did.
It confirmed some of our theories to a degree, I think, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
definitely was cool.
Yeah. And it also revealed some other things that we kind of didn't know.
Yes.
It was pretty cool then. Just that we were guessing. And again, because we published it after episode 4 was out. So there's probably going to be some people who doubt, that we thought these things before it came out, but it's pretty sweet. I think
I did put that in the video.
We were pretty close. Yeah. We were pretty close though about what happened. And one theory that I ended up getting that we both kind of got onto as we were like talking, I didn't have it before we started talking, was that what's her Janine, right? Was that her character's name in the world?
Geraldine.
Agent Rambo though, was from Shield, not Shield, Sword. She was sent in. Yeah, and I was theorizing she was sent in to figure out what was going on in the world, pull out Wanda, that they didn't know that Wanda
she was kind of sent in. She wasn't really sent in.
She wasn't. Yeah, so that was one thing. She wasn't really sent in. She kind of just stumbled in.
But she did work for Sword.
And she did figure out some stuff. And Sword was not in the know about what was going on with Wanda because it was kind of for debate. They were kind of setting up like maybe Sword was the one manipulating her. They were kind of leaving that up in the air. So we were pretty right on the money about a few things, but
yeah. So this beginning to the episode though.
Yes.
Was nuts. And it was like something I really wanted. And I didn't know I wanted it, but after watching it, I really wanted it. Mm-hmm. And it starts with this like coming back together of
after the blip.
I wasn't sure at first.
Yeah.
When it happened, I was like kind of confused. I was like, is this what it looks like when you come out of this Wanda world or whatever? But then it quickly became obvious. This was the moment after Hulk snapped.
Yeah. We see Agent Marshall coming back and she's in the hospital and sort of redisintegrating.
Yeah. So
part of her particles and stuff are coming back together.
Yeah. Ancient Rambo is coming back. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
And then she gets up, she's by a hospital bed and she gets up, starts running through the hospital and all these people are starting to same thing, reappear in the hallway. She runs into somebody who just like reappeared and she goes to a nurse and is like, "Where's my mom? Where's my mom?" Like, she was just there. She just got out of surgery. You said it went really, really well. What happened to her? And the nurse is like, just listen for a second. Your mom, the cancer came back. And she's like, "What are you talking about? She just got out of surgery. She just got out of surgery. She did great. You said she did great." And she's like, "Your mom died 3 years ago."
Mm.
And that was 2 years after we did that surgery. I think those are the times. It was a 5-year total.
Yeah,
gap.
5-year was when the snap from when they got snapped out, or the blip, as the MCU called it.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it the snap because the blip is dumb. The blip is dumb.
You don't like the blip?
I do not.
That's canon, though. That's canon, dude.
I know it's canon, but it's wrong. And it's wrong. We were all calling it the snap before they called it the blip in the MCU. Like the whole internet, we're calling it the snap, the event, because Thanos snapped.
Well, the snap was the action.
Yeah, but then snapped out of existence. I'm calling it the snap.
It's like a blip on a timeline. It's just like these people didn't exist for a while, and then now they do again.
Yeah, it's like Baby Yoda and Grogu, but at least I can get behind Grogu because that was his real name. But
that's what the real thing is called in the show.
It's not. It's
okay.
We decided. Okay.
So if you hear blip or snap, we're referring to the same thing. Right. And she's freaking out. She's like, "What do you mean 5 years? I was just there." So in her mind, this is all very interesting because it's kind of like, well, what happened to the people during the blip? You know what I mean? Mm. They just didn't exist. And for them, they were all right in the very moment that they left off, even mentally. You know what I mean? They didn't age. They look like exactly the same. And by the way, I got to give a shout out right here to Dan Bonnet. My friend who is also watching WandaVision with us as we go. We call and talk theory and stuff, and he called this being Grace Rambo's child after episode 3.
Oh yeah,
from Captain Marvel. I don't know if he had the idea on his own, but I heard it from him.
Oh yeah,
that he thought that. And so I got to give him a little bit of credit right now
because I saw a meme about it. I can't remember when I saw it, but Marvel put out that it was her, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's her." Oh, okay,
right.
But yeah, so I don't think they did it till after this episode came out though, because we were all just like, Geraldine. That's right, we didn't know.
Well, I think he called it though,
when she was Geraldine, in episode 3.
When he was Geraldine and she had gotten thrown out at the end of episode 3.
Okay,
that's when he told me, and I didn't think a whole lot about it at the time.
That's pretty wild.
It's true. So Monica Rambeau, and she says that.
Well, 10 points to you, Dan.
Yeah, good job, Dan.
Good job, Dan.
Dan's patting himself on the back right now. He's anyway, so that's what a wild opening scene.
That was pretty cool.
And first of all, it is the first episode where it didn't start in WandaVision, in the show WandaVision. So it was kind of cool. We've broken that world a little bit.
Yeah, it was we were talking about this too, is how when the Hulk did the snap and everyone came back, everything worked out pretty well in Endgame, right? And it would have been annoying if they were trying to get too logistical and practical with things. We just needed the superheroes to show up, come back, kick ass. But you bring back what's the population of the world? 7 billion people, right? So you snapped out. What's that? 2.5, 3.5.
People,
yes,
animals,
I have a doctorate.
Everything.
Yes. That's right. Animals too.
Damn. Animals, alien species, everything, man. Yeah. And so that's what it made me think of,
all coming back right to
if you're gonna have people right where they last were, and if you're gonna have people being run into, that made me think is okay, how many people were blipped out while they were crossing the street, and they come right back and just get railed? So many. How many people were on a plane when that happened? What happens if you're on a plane? But I don't know this. They might have answered this though, because a guy does come back on a rolling bed.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe he was going to surgery, and I don't know.
Well, yeah, but it wouldn't have been 5 years ago, Maybe he was on that bed. People are just resurfacing under some obese patient. No, but So maybe if you were in an airplane when that happened, you would have woken up in the airplane grounded or something, or on some lady's lap or something.
Yeah, I don't know. They kind of open up a whole nother can of worms with this. It was cool that they explained it, but now we can really get down the rabbit hole and just kind of
and be so annoying about it.
It'll be so annoying. That was another thing too. In episode 5, as far as I felt like they kind of addressed like some fan talk, even, which was like, how did they even
in episode
know?
4?
Was it 4? Well, the next one. 5.
Where they're on the whiteboard. Oh, okay.
No, it was 5. It's not a big thing to jump ahead yet, but I mean, you were warned spoilers, people. But when I think, what were they talking about? They were like, talking about how powerful Wanda is, and that she's like, well, she was the only one who she almost killed Thanos. She was the only one that came close. And then like the other agent guy, I forget his name, he was like, well, Captain Marvel came pretty close too. And
Agent Wu, right?
Agent Wu. And he was great in Ant-Man the Wasp too. He was funny.
He was.
And but anyway, that was just like, well, first of all, that sounds like people on the internet talking. Second of all, none of you were there. None of you were there. Like, what do you mean?
Right.
Like,
right.
Like,
and that wouldn't have happened that long ago at that point.
No,
that would have been a couple weeks after.
Yeah. First of all, none of them were on the battlefield. Second of all, Agent Rambo physically didn't exist until the end, or right before that battle. So I doubt she was checking the stats on who was winning that, Yeah,
it must just be the talk on the street, I guess.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you just go to ESPN.com.
But that was just another thing.
Okay, Captain Marvel had 3 kills today. Okay, and a rebound. All right. See,
she blew up a whole ship. But that was another thing that was just like we could be really annoying about. But anyway, back to 4.
But I also think that means something, though. I think because you saw how like annoyed Rambo was about hearing Captain Marvel. Remember, she had some relationship with Captain Marvel from the movie when she was a little girl. And maybe there's some bad blood now.
Yeah,
maybe there's some bad blood there. So
I definitely picked up on that.
We'll get there in episode 5.
Yeah,
but let's get back to
back to 4 though. So that happens. So she comes back to the world. It was pretty crazy how she came back. Then she gets back to working for Sword, and the head guy there, who's now used to be friends with her mom and stuff, and she starts to work for them. And they're basically like a space monitoring people, but now they also respond. Like they apparently didn't used to respond before, they just monitored or something. And we talked about the acronym stood for in our last one, but I'm just kind of like, it seems kind of redundant. We already have SHIELD. Like, why do we need Sword? To me,
it seems like it was like another organization that was like almost sort of simultaneously going,
I guess.
SHIELD.
But they were just before they, I guess they were just observational, and there's space too, is what I guess they were talking about. Like they
and right in space, and Grace Rambo's pictures on the wall. And they have this huge facility, like this gigantic like warehouse thing too. But anyway, so her picture's on the wall. So she's definitely been developing this this Sword organization for whatever it was original purpose was, right?
Yeah. And why have we never heard of it until now in the MCU? If it's this big thing, huh?
Maybe secretive. I don't know.
Anywho, but anyway, the guy's like, "Hey, FBI has this little ground mission. Let's get you rolling with that first, before we get in anything big,
He also hints at some stuff with her about like, I know it's awkward that I was named and you weren't there to like be able to name a successor, which shows that like, okay, so this Monica Rambeau, she's in the SHIELD family, or not SHIELD. Sorry. She's in the Sword family.
We might keep calling it SHIELD because it feels like the same freaking thing, but
it does. But, she's an important person to this organization, even though she's been gone 5 years and that new employee at the desk didn't recognize her. And
her name is Rambo. Her name is Rambo. Like Sylvester Stallone with the headband killing people in the woods, kind of Rambo. Just like Rambo. Yeah.
So
that's a badass name to have.
He has this mission for her to go, a missing persons mission. By the way, real quick, little detail. This director guy of of sword, his like diplomas or whatever are in a hexagon shape. I don't know if you noticed this.
I did not
on
notice
his
this.
wall. So just, I don't know.
Is there a theory behind that?
We learn more about this guy. Well, I mean, you've seen all the hexagon shapes throughout the show already. Like in the WandaVision, the whole thing is shaped.
Like that's right.
Hexagon, apparently.
They call it a hex.
And like, right. And like in the second episode, the stars make a hexagon that like light up at the beginning. It's like a small little detail. And there's a couple more examples of hexagon shapes in the show. And so this guy, just saying, this guy's diplomas were in that shape. And I don't know.
Is he even real?
Yeah.
Is any of this real?
So I didn't really get bad
like
vibes.
A cool guy at the beginning, though,
at
right?
the beginning. Yeah. We learn more about him in episode 5. Maybe even a little at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
So anyway, she goes and meets up with Wu, who is the FBI agent.
Yeah, and it's at Westview, and they're these other two cops are like, it doesn't even exist and stuff like that.
Right. And there was an exit sign that said Westview.
Yeah.
And there's a sign there that says Westview.
Mm-hmm.
And Wu is there. And by the way, Wu comes up doing the same like card trick that Ant-Man taught him.
Yeah.
In the movie.
That was pretty
which was a cool detail. I like that stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, what's going on? And he's like, this is not so much a missing person as much as a missing town, which is crazy. And I was really confused at this part when they go and talk to these two cops leaning on the car, and behind the cops there's a welcome to Westview sign and like a full city behind them that you can see.
Yeah, you can physically see it.
And the cops are just like, yeah, Westview doesn't exist. It's not a real city. It's never existed. And they're like, what?
Where are you from? Yeah, and they're like, where are you guys from? They're like, Eastview.
Yeah.
And I was just like, are we in the Matrix now? What the heck is going on?
I was so confused. I was like, can they not see what we see?
Yeah.
Can those cops not see? So I think I know what's going on now. Which
Yeah.
I don't want to, maybe we won't talk about quite yet. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
But anyway, so this is where
throw a drone into it first.
Right. And it's a little helicopter.
It's a little helicopter, which is the thing we saw come in color back in the second episode. And it turns into a helicopter there.
But it's like a different helicopter than the one they send in. Like the one they send in is like new age, like
it's a new age drone looking thing.
Yeah.
And then Rambo's just like, well, I'm going to go touch this thing then. And then she touches it. And Wu's like, I don't think it's a good idea. And she just gets sucked in because she was touching this scary thing, And then it's like, oh, shit, that's how she became Geraldine. And then
that's how she, yeah.
And then they bring in the chick from the Thor movies, the comic relief
Darcy.
Turn. Darcy, right? Yeah. She's a doctor now in astrophysics.
Yep, she's astrophysics, and she's like joking around with the people in the car, and so they're bringing in all these people of different expertise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a bunch of other specialists there. She gets there. She's eventually the one that figures out there's like this specific kind of wave going on. She ends
CMBR.
Yeah, and she hooks up a TV. She hooks up like an old TV too to start watching the program too. There was like a little like monitor on that computer thing that she pulled up or something, and you could kind of see Wanda through it as if like it was a broadcast. And that's when she's like, get me like an old TV, like not a flat screen, she said, because she's funny. Yeah, she's like one with a back, or like one with the
somebody
big back.
Get her a cup of coffee. Someone get her a cup of coffee, for God's sake.
I like that she wasn't too annoying funny, you know what I mean? Like I feel like some Marvel movies I was kind of concerned that they were all going to have like on the nose Thor Ragnarok humor for all of them, and I was just like, I don't want that. I don't want everyone to be the quirky quippy person. Like then it doesn't mean anything when Tony Stark or Star-Lord or Peter Parker does it if everyone does it, you know what I mean?
Right. So
anyway, I like how they handled, she's definitely funny in this, and Wu was funny, but like they didn't feel too much for me. I really liked how they handled it.
Yeah. And so they go and they grab an old TV, and they pull up this broadcast, I guess, through this whatever radiation is going through. She was able to capture it.
Yeah.
And by the way, nobody else really knew what CMBR was except for the director.
Yeah, he's like
And he
cosmic
came up,
broadcast,
whatever it stands for. Yeah.
radiation or something like
Yeah, by the way,
something like cosmic something.
And it has something to do with the Big Bang, by the way.
Mm.
Which also, by the way, the Big Bang is what separated the Infinity Stones and spread them through the universe.
Oh,
so
shit,
there's a
that's
connection
right.
there, by the way, with
That's
Wanda being influenced by the Mind Stone. Maybe that's where her CMBR comes from.
Oh, damn.
I take my CMBR every morning, 8 ounces in a little plug there for our fake company.
Yeah, so CMBR, I always use Natricors. I use Natricors.
Whenever I'm trying to make my imaginary sitcom, I use my CMBR with my morning shake.
It's the only way I can get it up anymore.
And just apply for automatic subscription. They'll send it to you every 2 months, and I'll never run out of CMBR.
You'll never run out. You'll never run out. You'll never run out.
You'll never run out.
You'll never
escape.
You can never escape.
Okay.
You'll never.
It just got weird. These weird ads. Okay. Back to
sorry for the ad, people.
Stephen Colby Vision. Where were we?
No idea.
Oh, so they're watching the broadcast and they start watching episode 1.
Yeah.
And they notice like, oh shit, that's an Avenger. That's Wanda. I recognize her from Age of Ultron movie, and she was in Infinity War. I loved her in that movie.
Vision there too. And they're like, didn't he die in the last movie?
Right. So I love this. They make it so clear for people that might not be as like hardcore as us. You know what I mean? Because like people who might not have like remembered that Vision died before the snap.
Yeah.
So I liked how they like made that clear.
Yeah, they really laid out a lot in this episode. They really helped. And for like us, I don't think I would have noticed Sword if we weren't talking about the podcast and I looked it up, you know? So they really helped. Like, here's what Sword is. This is what this is. And it was nice in that everyone kind of understands, but I also feel like they've answered so many. And like, we're going to talk about how they answer even more here, but like,
well, I love how it's like riddled with Easter eggs and little small details, but it's also fine if you don't get all those. And like, I feel like even if you're kind of just a casual fan, you can still enjoy it.
That's what I mean.
They make it easy enough,
accessible. Yeah,
exactly.
But
so
fans
they're watching
can
this.
still appreciate it.
They're watching this, and then they just become just like everyone watching the show in real life.
They're like, it's a sitcom. I don't
They're
understand.
like, how is Vision alive? Why a sitcom? Like all the questions that we were asking.
Why does it jump a decade every episode?
Right. They're asking all these questions on a whiteboard. And like, who are the people? Like, and they start identifying these people. I just thought it was funny. It's like, that's us right there. That's us this past week.
And it was pretty cool. And one thing we talked about was Agnes, right? From the first episodes about how, and you mentioned how she might be Agatha or something, right? Someone who was like Agatha. Married to the devil from the comics.
Or served the devil. I don't know if they were married.
Served the devil.
Served the devil.
And they found like everyone who's on there, like pretty much all the neighbors and characters we met. They were like, here's so-and-so, here's so-and-so. I don't remember them saying anything about Agnes though.
I think they did put her picture up, but she was like one of the only ones who did not have a New Jersey driver's license next to her picture.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think they had her character profile up. So I don't know if that means they haven't identified her yet, but everybody else had a New Jersey driver's license, and she did not next to hers. And also the woman who played Dottie with the blonde hair, like, was not pictured, but that just might not have gotten to her.
Okay. All right. So they're leaving that up in the air, I guess. That's still something.
So it's still up in the air. And also, I think when we get to episode 5, we'll talk a little bit more about her in episode 5. Well, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, so what does this tell us? This tells us that this is like a town of real people. These aren't like, figments of Wanda's imagination.
Yeah, they're not made.
These are real humans who have like IDs that their names are different than their character in the show, I think.
And now we know too that now we've
seen
the
same. I don't know.
Rambo go in, and now she's Geraldine. even though they're still trying to figure out what the heck's going on, then we recognize, oh, like she instantly got like mind controlled then or something, because
she really doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, I was thinking she might have been sent in with the mission to try and get close to Wanda, and that's when she said your brother was killed by Ultron. I thought that was like her slipping up for a second, but I think that was like just her waking up, because we see then just like her, that she's in character and none of them knew. Like she just walked in, like she wasn't sent in there. They didn't know that this was a thing until she went in there.
Exactly. And I think like if Wanda, like any other person in there, almost any other character in there, if she had said like, oh, I had a brother, that they wouldn't have any recollection of that in a past life. You know what I mean?
They'd be like, oh, okay, that sounds
okay, yeah.
delightful.
But with Monica knows her history, you know?
Ultron.
And right. And so she did have a past memory. And so like when Wanda brought that up, it kind of snapped Monica out of this trance she was in.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I mean, we're getting a little bit ahead, but I mean, it's in this episode though.
Yeah.
And
that's what like is, we see that Wu tries to call Wanda and ask like, hey, who's doing this to you, Wanda?
Right.
What's going on? Like through the radio. And that was another theory we had, that's why we were thinking this. And
we did think it was Sword, right? Yeah. And
so that's pretty cool. And
that was pretty well done. And else? Darcy was the one who helped connect that through.
Yeah. Pretty much Darcy and Wu are like
to the radio and
setting up things now and trying to like pretty much the ones, I guess, pushing it forward, even though the rest of Sword is doing stuff under the director guy. And the director guy also sent in a guy in this hazmat suit, which I think I remember seeing. I think I remember.
Yeah, that was you.
And he goes in, and like halfway, once he gets into the underground of the WandaVision world, it turns into a beekeeper outfit, and his rope turns into like the old like jump rope with the old like connector things on, you know?
Yeah.
And he goes up through.
It made it like appropriate for
the time period.
Times. Yeah.
And like the setting and the like the type of show. Like you couldn't walk into the Dick Van Dyke show with a hazmat suit on, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
so interesting.
So that's pretty cool.
And what's interesting about it too is that even when they pulled out that cable, because the jump rope thing didn't stay attached to the guy, they were able to pull it out, is that up until that section, it didn't turn back into the cable. It stayed, like it rearranged the atoms.
It was a jump rope. It was
a jump rope when they pulled it out. And they were like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then we get to see Wanda throw out Geraldine from that. And remember, because when we first saw it happen to, we saw Geraldine got like thrown out.
Yeah.
She landed, all these cars swarm around her, but we didn't see what happened between the two of them.
Right.
We saw Wanda was to say, hi, let's watch the TV and look at the twins. And nothing's wrong, Vision. But then we saw like what happened after that too and like Wanda too is like hiding the cameras with the angles. Like people don't see the jump cuts and the stuff like we do. Like she's like able to
edit stuff out, and
it's strange weird how she's able to do that. But like she gets her accent back. She's like, I'm not gonna butcher her accent.
I can already tell that was gonna be bad, dude.
What are you doing here? What are you doing in me swamp? Shrek.
Yeah, she's like, you don't belong here. And you're not a friend of mine. Something like, you're not my friend, and then you need to leave.
Does the head cock, and the red stuff comes out of her hands.
She does, and she literally breaks the fourth wall.
Boom.
Yep. She gets thrown out of that.
That was pretty sweet. Like she should have been dead though. Been like passing through those walls.
But she gets like thrown out, and then
it ends with her going like, it's all Wanda. It's all Wanda.
Yeah, that's what
that like confirms
like, it's all Wanda.
The theory then it's Wanda, who's running
right
showing here.
Which I think became fairly obvious after episode 3.
Yeah.
That Wanda was really influencing this world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this definitely just confirmed it. This made it very clear, and we just got to see the scene where Wanda just turned into a maniac woman. Like,
yes.
Scary Wanda.
And then
if you think that's scary,
after she Kamehamehas, Vision comes in after talking to the neighbors outside, and he's dead Vision. He's stone ripped out of the head Vision, and it made me just crap my pants.
Now, I don't remember who said this, and it might have again been Dan Bonnet, or it might have been you, Steve, and I don't remember.
Dan Bonnet. Let's see. What is it?
It might have been Dan that that Wanda was actually using Vision's body. That might have been you. I don't remember. Did you have that theory, or was that Dan Bonnet?
I might have.
Might have been Dan. I don't know. Okay.
I don't know. I can't remember.
But somebody definitely told me in a conversation that they thought Wanda might have like recovered the body of Vision and is just reanimating it, or in her head she sees or whatever, and she's just like, so
I don't know. I might have said, is he physically there? I do remember I remember saying something along those lines because I knew he was dead.
Right.
I know for sure that he's
right.
At least as of right now, I am positive he's dead. That's my thought. But I can't remember. I can't remember at the time, but I definitely am wondering if he's physically there or not. I think, I don't know if she was moving him around, like animating him, or his body's like just literally laying dead and just like a projection is coming from him. You know what I mean?
Interesting. But this made me think that was actually his real body.
Yeah.
She just like slipped up.
I can see that. Yeah.
It was either that at the moment, or the other thought I had was like, or she could just be like having like a flashback.
Yeah. She's just envisioning
scarred
him as that. She's just remembering that.
But no, I think I think after seeing episode 5, it's definitely thinking that was his real body.
Yeah.
So
let's just jump into 5 then. Let's jump into 5 because
So wait, well, this episode ends with her seeing that. And by the way, when you have Vision sitting down on the couch, and if you go back to episode 3. And you remember all the talk that the neighbors had about Geraldine, and he's been noticing all this weird stuff, Vision, just kind of slowly. When he sits down on the couch and she looks so happy with the babies and he's holding one baby, he kind of like looks concerned on his face as he looks at the TV. Like, he doesn't look like his happy self from the previous episodes. It's a small little, I just noticed it.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I watched it twice, but
my mind was just kind of blown at the time after the dead Vision thing. So I don't know.
Scary. It was scary.
And I was really watching her because Wanda's just freaking killing it in this.
And I love how like at some points they're just like watching it like a sitcom. There's like eating popcorn and like, oh, this is good.
I know.
And, like Wu was like, oh, what did he say? Like,
twins. Like
twins. Like they're enjoying it. Like it's a twist.
Mm-hmm. And that was. So then jumping into 5, I was kind of like, are we going to get back on just doing the sitcom thing? And
that's how they start.
It starts out that way. Is it like 70s, 80s now?
Yeah,
sitcom?
I think we're now maybe in the 80s.
I think,
I think we're 50s, 60s, 70s, and now we're in the 80s. And it's mimicking Family Ties, the show Family Ties, fairly closely. And they have...
It starts out normal, and then all of a sudden, like, they're doing like a joking thing about Agnes going over to see the kids, and Vision's just like, I don't know, did you wash your hands? Can you touch them? Or whatever.
Yeah, because she wanted to hold the babies.
Yeah, she wanted to hold the babies.
She came in and wanted to hold the babies.
And she just like, she looks like traumatized. She looks like she like wants to like
so
cry,
weird,
but hold it in. And she's just like, should I hold them? She like looks at Wanda.
No, she's like, should we take that again? She says.
Yeah, she said we take that again. And like,
as if like what, from the top of the scene or something? Like, you guys are actors, I was thinking. Mm-hmm. And Wanda and Vision look so confused.
Well, Wanda's just kind of like looking at her like,
oh shit.
Like, I can't believe you're like saying like it, like that. You're normally like, you should just be doing your role. Like, you shouldn't acknowledge that you have to do it again. Just be happy and read your lines, you know? But
I also think Vision's like not doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, Vision is definitely not.
And she gives him those eyes. She's like, it's okay if he holds the baby, honey.
Yeah.
You know?
But it was so cringy. I remember texting you.
I know.
It was so cringy. Like, it felt like watching like a really bad like blooper from a sitcom. Like when you watch like sitcom bloopers, like if you watch Friends or Big Bang Theory bloopers or whatever, it's funny when they're just like, they screw up the line and like the audience is like laughing at them and things and like, and they're like, let's take it from the top, and they read it again and they mess up again. Like, that was like what it felt like, but like, except that like it felt like if I don't read this line right, I'm gonna get a gun to my head. Like, is what I was like getting from Agnes. But the thing is, though, the thing that confused me about this and makes me wonder if she's something else is no one else knows when they mess up a line. You know, they just, things get reset or they say things. They don't break character. Like the one neighbor who was trimming the hedges, like he like started sawing through the thing, but he didn't acknowledge that it was weird or anything. You know, he was just malfunctioning. Like, why?
Right. And like, whenever
able to acknowledge that that was wrong, you know what I mean? Or that,
and same thing with like that email that they see later from Shield. Not Shield, from Sword. And and everybody is reading at the same time, but then they're all just like, oh, it's a joke, funny email, what are you gonna say back? We'll get to that in a second, but you're right. Agnes does not, she's just like, she doesn't break.
That's why I'm on.
It's weird. It's weird.
Agnes, like, Agnes is definitely something else other than all the other mind controlled people. Like,
seems different.
She was aware that the scene was going in the wrong direction because of Vision. Like, normally Wanda just resets the scene then, right? And then has Vision do the right thing or redirects him or something. But like, she knew it was going the wrong way, and she was the one trying to correct it. So like, what's up with her? What is she? Why does Wanda think she can control her? Does she know she can't? I don't know. But I don't know. Something from her. Yeah. Something from her.
It was weird. It was a weird, awkward moment. There was like dead silence.
And Vision was just like, what the heck? You didn't just see what I saw? And she was like, no.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah.
He's like, I can't believe you.
He's like, you can't tell me you didn't see what just happened. And anyway, then it cuts because they haven't been able to get the babies to stop crying, which was kind of funny because she tried using magic. It didn't work. They tried the binkies and they spit them out.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden there's silence and they're like, oh, yes. They go to the cribs and they're gone. My immediate thought is like, oh shit, Agnes stole these kids.
Yeah. Or I was thinking like, maybe she like lost her concentration, like that. Cause they can't be real, right? They can't be other real kids that she had inside of her and put out. So like
Monica later in the episode says that they're real.
Yeah.
Because they're like trying to identify the kids like as people. And Monica's like, no, they're real. Like those are her kids.
Yeah. So I have no idea.
Which is weird. But anyway, what happens is even weirder, which I did not expect.
They're just grown up now. They're like, what, 8 or 10 or something?
No, they think they're 5.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
They become 5-year-olds first.
They're kids.
First, they like grow to 5-year-olds, and they're super cute kids. They're like, hi, mom and dad. And
I don't know. They were kind of creepy.
They were cute kids, but like, but here's the weird thing: is Agnes is sitting on the counter, just like casually, like, you know, kids grow up so fast or whatever, and it's like, you know, like
that was another
so Agnes isn't.
That was another thing with Agnes. She was like,
what's going on?
I'm going to go get some rum or something. And I remember she went over there and then, I don't know, she just like seemed like depressed or something when she got over there. She seemed like F me kind of sort of thing when she was like drinking and Vision, like, but it like they played it as a joke. Like there was a laugh track with it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, what? You know, again, I was just like, something is going on with her right now. She's just like,
so weird.
F me.
So anyway, so the kids grow up, and then we get this amazing intro video to the WandaVision show. And it shows like, and it takes like Elizabeth Olsen's like pictures from when she was a kid, and they put them with like a Sokovian flag in the background, or kind of a sketchy looking alley or something, you know, like
yeah.
They make it Wanda Maximoff's past.
Yeah.
And then Vision's. I died laughing when they showed these. Some people thought it was creepy. I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was pretty funny.
They show Vision baby photos, which obviously would have never been real because Vision just
he was created that size.
Created. Yeah. So the baby photos were hysterical to me. He's just like wearing like a vest. And
it was funny. And it was a funny intro. What else then they also show then in the real world, then they're back to the sword camp too at some point here. And we're seeing them.
I almost corrected you and said shield.
Listen, there's shield. Sword. You hold a sword and a shield. They both do pretty much the same thing, except apparently sword does more space things. But right now in this show, they're doing the same thing shield would do. So like we're gonna get them mixed up.
Right.
Anywho, though, but it's then we're seeing them and they're like, oh, twins, what the heck's going on? And they're just aging, and that's when the thing with that is. But then we also
by the way, there was a picture of a birthday cake in the intro, and it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles on it. So they just celebrated a birthday that day.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get it. And and it's weird too that like Vision isn't acknowledging the weird age jumps and stuff. I mean, he's kind of aware of it, but he's kind of not.
So weird. It's so interesting. He goes to work, right?
Yeah, he goes to work.
Well, no. First, the kids are in the kitchen, and they have this dog.
Oh,
and they're bathing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, can we keep it?" And they're pretty cute at this. They're like, "Can we keep it?" And Wanda also wants to keep it. She probably created it, and this is part of her story that she's doing. At first, she's like, "No, you can't keep," and then she wants it. And Vision comes down and is like, who's this and stuff. And he's like, and Wanda's like, why are you dressed so formal? And he's like, oh, well, I'm expecting company. And at that moment, Agnes walks in with a doghouse.
Uh-huh.
And Vision goes, with the exact item we require, kind of thinking that is really weird.
Uh-huh.
Like, we just got a dog and you just came in with a doghouse.
Yeah. And she's like, I just saw you have a pooch in through your windy woo, or like
something weird like that.
Yeah. And then Wanda's like, well, I don't think you're ready to have a dog until you're at least, and looks at Vision 10.
Yeah.
And then whoop, they just look at each other
10-year-olds.
and they age. And it was just like so strange. And then Vision starts just like pointing out, like, isn't it strange that she did that? And what's going on here with people being strange? And that's when he goes to work then. And she's like telling the kids, like, he needed a distraction. It's Monday. And they're like, nah, it's Saturday.
They're like, where's dad? Yeah. And she's like, he's at work. And they were walking out, and the kids just stop and look at each other like, that doesn't make sense. And they turn around. They're like, it's Saturday. Why is he at work? The kids. And Wanda's like, well, he just sometimes needed as a distraction. Then they're like, from us? And she's like, no, not from you guys. Of course not. But like to us as a viewer, they're like, ooh, Wanda knows that Vision is like picking up on stuff. Yeah. She needs to get him away from all
also
this.
Too, with this, what is the deal with the kids then? Because she made them, right? And they can do all these weird things. And I'm just assuming then that she's controlling them to some degree. But then they're questioning, I don't know if the reality, though.
Is she controlling them?
That's
or
what I'm
do
thinking.
They have their own powers? Because if they are real and they are her kids, and I know in the comics too, and that she does have kids, and they become they have powers, and one of them like shares her telekinetic abilities, and apparently, and I'm not huge in the comics, but from what I saw in some of the other review videos, that they were actually wearing the colors on their shirts of those heroes. Like, I couldn't even tell you the heroes' names.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not big in most of my
but you bring up a really
knowledge
good
is from
point.
Movies and cartoons. But
you bring up a really good point. Like,
what
maybe they're not being controlled like everybody else because they're real.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's another question. It's another weird thing. And also,
I didn't think about that before.
Which I'm kind of just rolling with right now as we're talking about how you said they're real and that they did the thing. We also talked about how things have been transforming, and then even Rainbow in the real world then is like questioning. They say like, is everything like a hologram, a figment of your imagination in there? Like how they're trying to figure out then same thing we are like how
and
are
they
things
take
in the
imaging of her too.
Yeah, they also take like I don't know what imaging
they get in labs and stuff, and it's just whites out.
Yeah, they have nothing on her brain scan. I don't know if it was,
and apparently
it couldn't have been an MRI, but might have been
apparently in the comics though. Yeah, something. But apparently in the comics, Monica Rambeau becomes this. She gets powers and becomes Spectrum.
Ooh.
So there's a theory that maybe she didn't get anything because her powers have like been established in her or something.
Well,
and
to me, I was thinking
that's why her labs didn't come.
I was thinking like she should at least have a picture of a brain or something, though, right? Like
something. Yeah, but maybe it's because of the spectrum light thing that I don't know. I don't know like what Spectrum's powers are, but there were also a couple of things.
I would probably
there was there were two, like one of the news channels was named Spectrum, which I know is like their Spectrum TV and stuff. But also one of the tools that like they used to measure something on her said Spectrum on it too. So a couple small little things.
But what I was going with the kids though here, and that, and then she realizes, hey, like my clothes are still here. The clothes I had on that I didn't walk in there with were on me when I left. So like those are real. She goes in there, does a test, sees that they're Kevlar. She was wearing a bulletproof vest. So what happened was, what she deduces then is that Wanda changed what she was wearing, physically changed, arranged the atoms or the matter and all that stuff from her bulletproof vest and her uniform into those clothes that she had on. So everything is real. So
she just rearranged the atoms like to.
What did she change to make those kids? And that's why they could be real. They could be real if she changed something else. I have no idea.
That's an interesting concept. Yeah. That could be a very dark concept.
Yeah. What did she change to make humans? Did she change parts of Vision? Is what I'm kind of leaning towards when I had this kind of thought. Because
that's an idea, man. But also, we get some footage. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you go ahead. You talk.
So they also show Darcy and Monica this footage they had from Sword, where very soon after the people came back from the blip, they had recovered Vision's body and they were doing experiments on it. I mean, they've probably had it for a long time and experimenting on it. And as soon as like Wanda gets back, she like charges in, she like breaks the doors down, and you can see on the security footage, and she goes into the room where Vision is, and that's all you see. She like walks up to the body, which is like separated, like there's a torso, arm, head,
That's what I mean.
It's like all blacked out,
separated.
Like it was, and that's all you see.
Use an arm to make a kid, That's what I don't know.
Which pretty much confirms, right, that she has his body.
Yeah, definitely has his body.
Using it some way. And so that was very interesting footage. And she's wearing like her normal clothes she was wearing in Endgame, and that's like the last time they see her before they meet her again with WandaVision.
Yeah. Also too, we're seeing the director of Sword, who he can be kind of a dick. I mean, Wu was trying to point out like she's an Avenger, like she's trustworthy, like something must be happening. Even if she's controlling it, maybe she's not aware of it. Maybe something else happened to her. Mm-hmm. And the director's like, does she have like a cool superhero name like Captain America or Thor? Like, no, she doesn't. She's not really like an Avenger, even though she's an Avenger.
And he like brings up all the bad stuff she did. It's like, oh, wasn't she fighting the Avengers first? Like, wasn't she?
And remember like when she blew up the building in Captain America Civil War, when she was trying to get rid of the guy. He brought that up, and you're like, oh,
and he kind of shut Wu up. He kind of like,
he was kind of a dick.
Convinces the room that like Wanda might not be a good character,
which is reasonable thought process. But he's, reasonable thought,
especially after it's interesting because Monica, and she's the one who like got thrown out by Wanda in a pretty nasty encounter, even steps up and is like, I don't think Wanda is trying to hurt anybody. Like, I don't think this is a malicious act.
But then he even points out, like, you said it was when your mind control, it was terrible, awful, like, all these things. And it's like, she's like, well, yeah, it was.
I didn't say that. Yeah,
it did suck.
But
an invasion of privacy.
But I get what I can see both of their points.
I can.
I guess Monica's worried that this guy might have ill intent against Wanda. And
it turns out he does.
And it turns out he does. So Monica's just trying to brainstorm, how the heck can we
figure out more?
Yeah. So she like has a concept for like a truck to go in or some kind of tank to get in there.
Yeah.
But she needs the materials, and she mentions, well, I know just the person that we can ask to do it. And she starts like texting them or something. I don't know who that's going to be. Do you have any inkling who that would be? I don't know. But it's probably going to be somebody important.
Yeah.
The way they're leading into it.
One thing that happens then after that is for them to poke around in there then is they're like, well, what if we just get something from that time period they're in? That way it won't change. Like, we sent in another drone that was futuristic. It changed to an old helicopter. What if you send in an 80s drone, which I didn't even know they had drones in the 80s.
Is that what they looked like?
I guess, right?
I thought that looked futuristic.
I was like, this doesn't even look that much different than the kinds of drones that I've seen, Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was. So I thought it like looked futuristic, but maybe if I looked up a picture, that would be what a drone would look like back then. So
yeah, but since it's from that time period that she has the setting in, it's able to spy on them, and Wanda just comes out super pissed, and she's got her costume back on. It's the red magic going, because in the movies when she does magic, it's red, but in the show, like, it's like cartoony, don't see anything, snap jump cuts kind of magic, and she just comes out looking pissed.
when it like she looked pissed, like in the drone footage, right? And it was the dog that was barking. It was the dog that was like picking up on it. And she went out, and like that shadow, like from outside the dome of her coming through, I was like, oh God, this is scary. Like, Wanda's coming out right now, and she's going to wreck everyone here. And she comes out so pissed. And she like tosses the drone at the director. Like, not to kill him, but just like to be like, oh, did you lose this or something? Like,
and just all the SWAT guys around have their like their laser pointers on her, which, like, anytime when you see someone has a laser pointer on their gun, like, the laser pointer is gonna move, because like no time in a movie or show do they, like any other time when someone has guns, they never have just laser pointers. Right. Laser pointers are there for you to understand. Gun is now pointing at this,
and it's going to be pointing at this in a second.
Yes. And he was like, just tell us what you're doing, and come out and all that stuff. And she's just like, you leave us alone, I'll leave you alone. And
she's like, I'm not the one pointing the guns here. And Monica steps in and is like, yeah, but you are the one in control. And Wanda's like, oh, you're still here. Boom, boom, boom. But by the way, I think we might have missed an important point. Is when they had the drone going, Monica was just trying to contact Wanda, trying to talk.
Oh, yeah. We missed this.
And at that moment, the director was like, all right, fire or whatever, engage or whatever. And Monica freaked out, like, what are you doing? And the screen just went out. And it was right after that Wanda comes out.
Super pissed.
And so Wanda's thinking like, oh, it was Monica who tried to shoot me or whatever. We don't know if a missile like
shot they don't out know if it was a missile or a gun. He was like, take the shot.
Take the shot. And anyway, it was an attack on Wanda, obviously.
Yeah.
And
from the director.
That no make Wanda happy. But I think Wanda thought it was Monica, maybe.
Yeah. It was her voice.
And so Monica starts approaching Wanda and is like, you got to know that wasn't me. Like, I helped you deliver your baby. Like, you have to know on some level that I'm your ally, And I think that sort of got through to Wanda. I think Wanda's just like crazy mad right now. And I think she does recognize that Monica's not the one to blame here. And how does she let us know that, Steve?
Well, she turns all the guns on the director. And that was pretty badass.
Mind's control. Yeah.
Because at first I thought like, I don't know exactly what I thought, but it was still pretty badass though. And she just had all of them turn onto him. And he's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. And it's just like, it's like we've seen her some in the Avengers, movies and stuff. She's pretty powerful. She was able to stop Vision right in his tracks in Civil War.
She almost like just freaking pulled Thanos apart.
She almost
in Endgame.
Just
if they didn't
Kratos,
like they say in this before the Blitz. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway,
she
you know what this reminded me of?
This
reminded me of Game of Thrones.
Oh,
remember
Cersei?
Cersei when she's like one of the guys like knowledge is power.
Yeah.
She's like,
Littlefinger.
She has and then she has the mountain come, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just two guards.
It was just all the soldiers that were there.
All the soldiers came, and she's like, "Power is power."
Yeah, she was like,
and
"Seize
that was
him,"
like totally.
And she's like, "Cut his throat."
Like, "Seize him, kill him." Oh wait,
wait.
I changed my mind.
Turn around, and they all turned around and like did whatever she said. Like that was a pretty badass scene.
And she's like, "Power is power." That was Wanda's power is power moment.
I'm digging Wanda in this. I'm digging this.
I am, but I also think she's batshit.
She's batshit crap. But can you blame her? I mean, we talked about this in the last one.
Traumatized,
super traumatized. Her brother was killed.
She is pleading with them. She's like, just let me live my life here. Like, let me do what I do. But they can't really do that because these are real people she's manipulating to do this. It's not like she's just making them up. And then they'd probably be fine with it.
Yeah.
But there's real people's lives, and we get to meet one of those real people in the scene with Vision.
Yeah. So Vision's at work then. And that's when he gets the email from Sword. They all get an email from Sword, and what it was the radiation levels approaching critical near Westview. Like you have to worry about the people inside or something like that. And
it gets
all
so
of the
creepy.
Workers are reading it. They're all just like, blah, 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 like all in the
which
same.
made me think, like, is this Wanda reading it?
That's what I thought too. I was like,
it reminded me of an episode of Rick and Morty, actually.
Yeah.
Like there's like an entity that just takes over beings, but she is all of the beings.
I remember. I saw that. Well, I saw this
in that episode.
Yeah. And Rick liked her.
Yeah, and they all talk. Like they can all talk, any one of them, and sometimes they all talk at the same time. So that's what this reminded me of. And
at first I was thinking Wanda was reading, but then I was thinking like this is breaking the reality, so they're all like sort of malfunctioning. You know what I mean? What I thought.
It's like a glitch again.
Yeah,
that's a good point. And then they
Vision's
all
just like
play it off like a joke.
Yeah, they all laugh after they finish reading it. Like Vision, like radiation levels near critical near Westview or whatever it was, and then they're all like, ha, 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 ha. Are you going to respond, Vision?
Yeah,
respond. And Vision's just like, what the F just happened? And he goes,
and he touches the computer.
Yeah,
he touches the computer and he realizes he can like turn that off.
Yeah, he can use his vision powers.
Yeah, and then he goes to I forget the guy's name.
Yeah, but the other guy who was sitting next to him from even back in the first one
touches his temples, and that guy snaps out of it and immediately starts going, "You got to help me! You got to help me, please! She's in my head! You got to get her out of my head!" He keeps saying, "Her! You need to stop her! You need to get her out of my head."
He's like, "I need to get my phone. Like, I call my wife and
call my wife." He's freaking out, and Vision just turns him back on, and he's like, "Hey, we better get back to."
So where do you put the stamp on the email, on the electronic letter?
Yeah,
back to the corny humor.
Yeah, before that they're talking about like, oh, it's like a Rolodex, a keyboard, or a typewriter, and whatever, all in one. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Wow, someday this is going to help me find a wife, huh?" And Vision's like, "Actually, someday, yeah, someday it will, actually." But yeah, so that was a creepy scene.
So then that was another little line that kind of confused me, because to me, Vision's reality, he just goes along with whatever decade they're in. You know what I mean? But even though he knew he had powers, it doesn't seem like he remembers anything from before he died.
Well,
and it
Vision's
doesn't
still like this huge data bank of information, though. Like that's
what I mean.
who he is. So he like
Right.
knows everything.
Right. But so like, how does he know the future then? So if he knew that there's future things and that he's in this other reality, like
I think that's where some of my biggest question marks still are with Vision.
Yeah.
Because it's like it seems like he's alive. If Wanda was animating him completely, then like he wouldn't be having these realizations.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that makes me think that maybe whatever Wanda's done here with his hexagon shape is just some witchcraft spell that actually did resurrect Vision, maybe within the perimeter of this. And maybe like whatever magic, dark magic that she's using actually did resurrect Vision in his body, maybe.
Well, that's like I was thinking that too, because I was like, he has to be live if he's questioning the reality, right? But then after the kids, then they have the dog. They try and find the dog, and then Agnes has the dog, and she has it wrapped up in a blanket. She's like, "Oh, I wanted to wrap it up before they saw it," and I'm just like, "Oh shit! Did she just like run it over? Is she gonna get just executed?"
Did she kill that dog? Did she murder that dog? Did that dog dig something up in her yard that she did not want it to?
I don't know. I just got chills.
She looked a little worried when that's
what I mean. She looked
Wanda,
worried.
The kids thought that Wanda could bring it back to life. She's like, "Can you do that?"
Yeah, they're like, "Can you fix death, mommy?" And she was just like,
she doesn't say no.
She's like, "Oh,
she's like, you shouldn't. There's certain rules in the universe that you can't really do."
And that's what made me think that she was saying it about Vision, though, that she can't do that for Vision. But then,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's clearly what she's saying is relating to Vision, and then all of a sudden, Vision
maybe
shows up.
Maybe she's feeling guilty about what she's done. Like maybe deep down she knows it's wrong to bring him back.
Maybe that's
it's just like, and they talk outside of it. They talk about this goes against the Sokovian Accords. This also goes against Vision's wishes.
That's right. In his will, his
will, he didn't want this. So this goes against Vision's wishes. What
he didn't want to be used as a weapon.
Yeah. And so Vision comes back and he just kind of responds as a dad to the dog dying, hugs his sons.
That was nice.
As a good dad, he does look disheveled. He looks disheveled. And but yeah, Agnes found the dog dead, wrapped it up in a blanket. I question that. It's weird too, because another thing that Vision questioned was earlier when Wanda just made a dog collar appear.
He's like, "Yeah, what? We're showing your powers."
And he's like,
now?
"What are you doing? Like, she's right there." Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, I just want us to live our lives normal and we don't have to worry about that anymore."
Yeah. She's like, she didn't even notice that the kids grew up 5 years. Like, why does it matter? And he's just like,
exactly.
Like, I think we used to think the same way. And
you're right. It's like our minds used to be of the same or something. And
yeah. And
he said it just in like a perfect Vision way. It was great.
Yes.
The guy who plays Vision. I mean,
Paul Bentley.
Yeah. Was it Bettany? Bettany. Paul Bettany.
It's a British name.
Paul Bettany. He's awesome.
He is.
I mean, they're both awesome. I mean, Elizabeth Olsen
she's
so
killing
good.
it.
The acting is amazing.
She is
actually all of it. Agnes is great. I know she plays these cheesy characters, but like then
it's supposed to be.
Exactly, it's supposed to be. But then to snap into that like awkward line earlier in the episode was amazing. She was like this cheesy, goofy character, and then she's like, "Do you want me to take that again?" I'm like, whoa.
That was awkward. That was just so cringy. And then
I was looking at her Wikipedia page, the girl who plays Agnes. She's in so many things.
That's why I've seen her in so many things, like a lot of comedies, especially. Like she's normally like the best
friend.
She was
in Step Brothers. She was in Step Brothers.
Oh, that's right. She's the one that was messing around with not Will Ferrell.
No, John C. Reilly.
That's it, John C. Reilly. She was the one messing around with him.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She said so many cringy things in that.
Yeah, it was bad.
Anyway, oh my God, it was hilarious though.
But yeah, so Vision, this whole episode is just like, what the is going on here? And so Vision comes home from work. He finally comes in, and the kids are in bed or something, and he goes to the sink and he's washing his hands, and Wanda's, being all la la land, and he goes, "Wanda, I turned off your spell on that guy at work today. And I know what you're doing. and you need to stop it. It's not cool, whatever he said. And Wanda's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you seriously need to,
yeah,
she need to stop.
She like tries to keep going with the tone of the sitcom,
and he goes, keep going. And he goes, you can't control me like you control them. And she's like, oh, really? And she does something. It looks like she like puts him to sleep for a second, but she doesn't, because like she starts walking to the other room and you just hear Vision's voice again. It's like, no, Wanda, it doesn't work on me. And they go into the other room, and this scene's nuts.
Well, the credits start going too. She's just like,
yeah, she tries to end it with the credits. She tries to end the show
conversation. Let's go to bed or whatever. And he's like, what are we gonna do? Just watch TV?
And she did try to control him. She tried to like shut him off. She's like,
is that what that was?
Like what she did earlier. The last time he started asking questions, like in episode 3, she was able to just restart it, and it was fine. And all of a sudden, like Vision, like it doesn't work on him anymore. And so he flies up, and she flies up with her powers. Like this was pissed at each other.
Such a good tense scene. He was just
and
like,
he's so mad.
He's outside of Westview. What's going on? I'm scared. And
like he's screaming at her, like livid. Like I've never seen Vision like this before.
Vision
like you
never
can't be
had
doing this.
Real emotions like in the other movies. Like he was always like, I mean, he kind of had a little bit of emotion, I guess, in Civil War, as far with Wanda when she betrayed him there, when they were leaving and stuff.
Well, they have the bond with the stone. So I feel like with them, they can, like, she gives him this human feeling, I think, somehow.
Oh, that's right. And they were pretty romantic, too, in Infinity War.
They were romantic, yeah. And I think it's, like, only with her, though. But anyway, so he is so livid. And she's like, can't you see I'm doing this for us? I'm doing this, so we can have a family. And
they both, like, fly up, square up against it. That was pretty sweet. It was pretty sweet.
Oh, it was cool. It was cool. It looked good.
And then they sit down after he's like, I'm scared. And she's just like,
yeah,
she's like, realizes like, oh, like I need to talk to him to some degree here. And then they start talking. And then he's just like, you need to tell me what's going on. And like, you're holding back from me and stuff. And then all of a sudden doorbell rings and he's
like, not again.
Like he's thinking Agnes. And she's like, I didn't do that. And he's just
like, I didn't do that.
He's like, how can I believe you? Like,
right. So I don't know if I believe her either. I'm not sure, but kind of surprising what we see.
Oh my God. She goes to the door, opens it up. We see the back of a head eventually
with silver and black hair,
And I'm instantly thinking, oh, this is Quicksilver from Age of Ultron. They brought him back.
Right.
She's
her brother.
Did she bring his dead body too, Pietro? They zoom to the front though, and it's not Quicksilver from the MCU.
She still says Pietro though.
She still says Pietro, so she still recognizes him. But it's Quicksilver from the new X-Men movies, the most recent X-Men movies, from X-Men Days of Future Past and then X-Men Apocalypse.
Evan Peters.
Yeah, who I liked him in Days of Future Past. I loved him. Apocalypse was pretty movie for me, but I always liked him as Quicksilver though.
Yeah. He's in American Horror Story, like in all those seasons, and he's really good.
Oh yeah.
But
she recognizes him as Pietro. She seems surprised though too, which is the thing.
Yeah, she does. So
but she's always acting though in the show, so I can never tell if it's her part of the plot for her show that she's going with. But even the people in the real world. So at first I was just like, all right, maybe they couldn't get back that actor. We have a Quicksilver already from the X-Men. Now Disney owns X-Men. Disney didn't own X-Men before. So are they just like, all right, Quicksilver, we'll just put this guy in. Fans will know who it is. But then the people in the outside world then even say, she recasted Quicksilver? Like
I think this is how they're trying to, this is how they're doing it. This is how they're getting X-Men universe in here.
Yeah. So, we talked about in the last one, Wanda and Pietro in the actual like comic books are the son and daughter of Magneto, the head like bad guy of the X-Men, the mutants, and they're mutants in the comics. So they got their powers from birth. They had mutations that led to their powers. In the MCU, though, they can't use mutants and they couldn't use X-Men back when they did Age of Ultron. But because X-Men was a Fox property. Fox wasn't owned by Disney at the time, but now Disney has bought Fox. Now they own the X-Men. The X-Men movies are now on Disney Plus even, which if you want to figure out what's going on with all them, make sure to check those out. The new ones, I like the original, the first two, and then First Class, Days of Future Past. Those are all great. And then Logan. You got to watch Logan. Hugh Jackman kills it. But anywho, Pietro here then is Quicksilver from that. She recognizes him as that. So now we can bring in Magneto. We can bring in Michael Fassbender if we want now. We can bring in the whole X-Men, and it's
and by the way,
crazy.
Apparently, like the movies that this Quicksilver was in is the same point in was what in the 80s too? It like took place in the 80s, I think.
Yeah, I think Days of Future Past was 70s.
Makes sense.
And then Apocalypse was in 80s, yeah.
Right, the one from Avengers wouldn't have looked like that in that time period either, too. So they also took one from the same time period as the show that she is currently in.
Oh, that's right, because at that time period, he would have just been like a baby or not even
whatever.
Born
I don't know how old he was, but
I think he's a little bit older than that, so he probably would be a baby in the 80s.
So there might be nothing to that, but there might be. So
damn, yeah, because you have to be from that time period, maybe. I don't know, but shit,
I don't know.
That's another.
I mean, but she's not, but she creates this world.
That's the thing.
So it might not matter. But
that's a good point.
Crazy that they're crossing over now. People were wondering if this was going to happen, and I think this is a great way to do it. If they're going to do it, I think with this weird, obscure show, this might be the way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it probably would have felt too forced and rushed if you just did it in a movie, in the MCU. But
by the way, I heard another crazy theory.
What?
That, I think in the last Spider-Man movie, people think is happening around similar time to this show. And in that movie, Peter Parker asks, why can't we get Doctor Strange? And somebody's like, oh, he had to go deal with something else right now. He's dealing with something different.
Oh, I remember it was Spider. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Far From Home, I think.
Yeah, Far From Home.
And so there's a theory going out there that maybe Doctor Strange will later become involved with Wanda in some way, or maybe the Doctor Strange movie is going to have something to do with Wanda.
Well, I've heard that. First of all, I've heard a few different theories. I have heard that there are some loosely confirmed casts that are coming back from the Amazing Spider-Man and the original Raimi trilogy Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield and then Tobey Maguire before that. Wow. So villains from those movies are going to be in the new Spider-Man movie. So it sounds like they're kind of doing a Spider-Verse thing there.
Into the Spider-Verse?
And yeah, I've heard that. And then Sam Raimi, who directed the first three original Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, is also directing the Doctor Strange movie, the next one that's coming up. And so I'm thinking I think we're going to be seeing a lot of universe crossovers and things like that. And so I hope
now that these companies own everything now. I don't want to. I like it separated a little bit. Now I feel like I'm not huge into the X-Men, but now I definitely think I need to go back and watch those movies. Now that Evan Peters has made the appearance here, I feel like I need to get on top of that now.
Well, I'm telling you, First Class is a good movie. Days of Future Past, good movie. I would definitely watch X-Men 1 and 2 first. They don't hold up as well today as they did back then, but they're still good. I think 2 still holds up today. But then you have to watch First Class because that's like a prequel. And then they just kill it. That's probably, as far as X-Men movies go, it's probably the best one.
Okay.
And then Days of Future Past comes after that and sort of connects the two different timelines. And then Logan. You have to watch Logan. That's like the end of Wolverine, the end of Hugh Jackman. As of now, Hugh Jackman said that was his last Wolverine. I'm thinking now that the MCU's in full swing, everyone loves Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I can definitely see him coming back too with the way everything is going.
It's crazy. Yeah, but I agree. I think if you do too much crossover, all of a sudden it gets weird.
It gets convoluted, and people get confused.
Very convoluted. Yeah.
I really love the simplicity of the MCU to this point, as far as here's a superhero movie, that's a superhero you need to know about. Here's a superhero movie with this superhero you need to know about. They're going to be teaming up. And then, so as long as you just know that those movies exist, you can loosely follow, but now it's like, I've seen all the superhero movies, so I'm able to follow around. But like people like you who haven't seen the X-Men, you're gonna be like,
I haven't seen the X-Men.
Who is this? What's this? What are they referencing here?
I did recognize Evan Peters though. Like I knew he was in an X-Men movie, and he looked like I've seen pictures of his character before and stuff like that. Just because I knew him from American Horror Story, so I've like looked up his, filmography and stuff. But, so for him, I was able to recognize.
But I think there might be a lot of people from the MCU who didn't watch X-Men that might be like, who is this? And like now they have to look up.
I'm sure there's people. Yeah. But anyway, that's how the episode ends. He comes in, he says something like, I just want to squeeze my sister. And he talks weird. And he looks at Vision, like, who's the popsicle?
Yeah.
Like insulting Vision.
Because he's got his purpleness on.
Yeah. Vision must have just like been like, I don't give a crap anymore. Because usually if someone came to the door, he would change his appearance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I think at the beginning of this one, he like hid behind a pillow, and he's like, oh, I was just feeling this pillow with my face.
Yeah, just. But that was wild. I mean, I'm really enjoying it now, and like, I was kind of bad mouthing. I don't want to say bad mouthing. I was kind of like with the first couple episodes in, I was just kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to be invested in this show. I only watched the third one because you told me to. Now I'm definitely hooked. I want to know what's going on here. I want to figure out all these questions that I've said, these other theories, the kids, Vision, what is Wanda's real motive? Where's Pietro, X-Men? Are they coming in? Is Magneto going to kind of come in then? Because
so many more questions now.
He must be.
Right. And so, yeah. And my girlfriend, I just rewatched all these with my girlfriend, and she said the same thing after the first episode. I'm surprised you kept watching this after the first episode. I mean, I'm a fan of those old shows anyway, so I kind of liked the parody of it. And I enjoyed the first couple episodes, even though they weren't revealing a whole lot. But she was also like, yeah, I'm surprised you kept watching this because it's like nothing like a Marvel thing. Again, to me, this show is so refreshing. It's so different than any other show I've ever watched.
It still feels similar enough for me to latch onto. I when Wanda comes out, I recognize Wanda. I recognize the agents. Sword feels so much like Shield. There's definitely
these episodes sort of feel more like Avengers movies. When they go to Sword and you see the warehouses and stuff.
But I love a good mystery. I love a good like mindfuck movie like Shutter Island or Inception or something that makes you think and like wonder what's going on, what's real, what is it? Matrix, the original Matrix.
But you know what I'm also thinking? I'm also thinking that they're going to kind of pull a Mandalorian here, and they're going to use WandaVision to also as a jumping board for a million other shows.
110%.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like maybe even with these kids, like someday they'll like put a show out with Wanda's kids or something.
Oh my God, there's gonna be an Agnes spinoff show. There's gonna be
know whatever with the X-Men now.
There's going to be the woman who gave the CT to Rambo is going to have her own show.
Yeah, she's going to have her own medical show.
Just giving people CT scans and reading blood draws.
Monica, who knows? Monica Rambo might get her own show as like Spectrum if she becomes
this is going to be so many.
They
set up like you said, the Captain Marvel thing. There's definitely going to be something from that. The X-Men are coming in. This is 110%.
I like Agent Woo. I don't really want an Agent Woo spinoff. I like him.
I don't need it.
But anyway, it was 2 great episodes. 2 great, mind-blowing episodes.
I have to say, I like this one more though than the big reveal episode, because after the big reveal episode, I was kind of like, what else have we got then? Like, I feel like you answered so many of my questions. This one though really helped me reinforce some more questions. Still kept it going. And I'm even more interested now.
I liked it because you got like them figuring it on the outside, but you also got like an episode where things are glitching and some really good glitches and like Vision figuring it out and their encounter. And what is Vision gonna do? Because Vision is not vibing with this world. And now I'm kind of in the belief that this is a spell, that actually maybe brought Vision back to life. Like maybe only in this bubble that Wanda created. But in this bubble, I think Vision is his own entity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because she can't control him now.
That's what, like, I have no idea. I mean, yeah, he has to be real to some degree now. She can't control him, and it's the same with the kids, right?
But he doesn't have memories from before this, though.
Exactly. Is it because his head got ripped out, so he can't remember anything since you've had the Infinity Stone? I don't know.
Yeah. So like, Vision is like just a walking, talking corpse right now. Wanda had sexy time with him, which makes her
a necrophiliac,
a necrophile, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Wanda, you're messed up, girl. Those witches, man.
Those witches. Anyway, though, crazy episode, people. Are we good to wrap it up, then? You good?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Anyway, crazy episode, though. Lots to talk about. We're definitely keep covering the show, and we're going to keep talking about it. Make sure to listen to our first talk to on YouTube podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, sign up for automatic downloads. Just have all your notifications on silent, though, so you're not getting buzzed throughout the day. But then you look down at your phone whenever you get bored and like, oh, look, Screen Chronicles, they did something new. There you go. But yeah, thank you again for listening, everyone. And
tell us what you thought.
Please give us some theories. We want to hear some more crazy theories and stuff. Please give it to us.
We love it. All right.
Bye.
Bye.